Jocks, we are ready to get into Champion Select. Well, we're in it, as you said. Thank you very much to you and Raz for breaking that down. We'll have to see if G2 can clean up a few of those things, but also if Ascension can kind of unlock what they hope to bring here to the world stage.
Yeah, absolutely, because I don't think it's just G2 that needs to clean up some of their play. We heard from Mark that he wasn't really impressed with Ascension just chasing kills, a little bit more solo queue style. Wanted to see it translate a little bit more heavily into objective focus, because the start of the game did look fantastic for G4. In fact, he went deathless through that game, ended up a 3-0-1, but still not able to get the gold lead that his team needed, and GBM did take over that game. So I think both of these teams wouldn't necessarily be happy with how the mid to late game stages went, and need to recalibrate where they're at in this tournament.
G2 feeling a little bit better towards the end of their split with a good note in regionals, but first time in play-ins. Definitely have to get it right here and make sure things are going well. Same for G4 as now we get into the picks, and it's going to be a Varus for Nixar in that bot lane. Ooh, Wonder Quicker got picked in. Jankos now to select, and they are not wasting any time. They say, Ascension, what do you have?
And I think that they've really read the Let's Play Topside memo that we've been trying to push for G2, you know, on the analyst desk, on the cast. All of a sudden, you got a Ryze that has the ability to push out lanes. We just saw what Scout can do on that champion. And then Wonder being able to take the Spellbook Urgot, something that has such versatility, fantastic team fight, ability to get around the map, but also just in that 1v1 situation can even execute the tanks and has pretty good push potential. So I like this out of G2. They are playing towards their strengths. It's just how they shore up that weakness of Hyanan in the bottom lane, because he did get exploited in that first game. So
crazy to see Urgot again getting into play. Oh, man. Such an interesting one. And as you said, that Cassiopeia being locked in for G4, going to feel good, but they get the Tahm Kench in for Rich. That was the Alistar last time, I believe, and now he's going to be able to just help Rocky out quite a bit. The Gragas, sorry, that's right.
Yeah, it was a weird first pick, Gragas, that ended up in the support position, was able to generate some picks, but wasn't able to make it there in the late game. I like the Tahm Kench being picked up, however, because it shuts down the 1-3-1 to a certain degree. All of a sudden, if Wonder or Perks are out of position in the side lane, much easier to punish it with the Tahm Kench and that global capability. And again, we see this heavy priority put onto Kai'Sa, even though it is a weak lane into the Varus, gets outranged, does still have the scaling potential, and want to see what they pair it with here, because now all of a sudden you do have a little bit more team fight flavor coming through for G2.
Are they going to hit the support, or just say Wadid can have what he wants? Olaf gets knocked away from Lloyd. He was on that Graves last time, being very aggressive out of the jungle. Already have quite a bit of damage on the team with the Machine Gun Mage and Cassiopeia Spitting Fangs mid. And that ban's going to actually go towards Rocky, who played Cho'Gath in his first game. So Jax banned him, and now a final ban for Ascension Gaming.
Yeah, potentially not wanting to have to go toe-to-toe with another split pusher coming out of Rocky, especially when they have themselves that Tahm Kench. Speaking about the Cassiopeia versus Ryze matchup, historically it has been Cassiopeia favored. The changes to the Abyssal Mark did hurt Cassiopeia a lot, and now the fact that Ryze's empowered snare has been reduced to 1.5 seconds. I actually haven't seen the matchup, but I would assume that it would go a little bit more Cassiopeia favored again, because it did hurt in those 2v1 situations, but the lockdown was there. So really back and forth matchup. Historically, getting Jankos like ganking jungler definitely pushes it in the Ryze's favor, in my opinion.
Did you say Rune Prison was knocked down? Because we'll put a little more crowd control, and how about one you can't get away from? Like you said, Jankos getting that Camille, so he's going to be aggressive. We saw the Olaf first game for him. Still wants to go hard in the jungle.
Certainly does, and now looking out to round out the top side of the map for Ascension Gaming, would expect to just see a tank. It is going to be picked up right now, and I think that a farming jungler one more time for Lloyd makes a lot of sense. Would give them some presence in the team fight, you know, just look to neutralize lanes and try and scale up. Certainly something that Lloyd and a stranger to potentially go for something even like the Trundle to just really be able to match tempo. That's a different flavor.
Lee Sin's in there, 2 plays out of the regular season. Does he want it? Xin Sao still on the board, but he chooses Lee. Good for a Q, good for a kick. We'll see which one comes out first for him. And Ascension Gaming has the comp locked in that they will use against G2 Esports.
But what lane are you playing around, Riv? When you pick up Lee Sin, it's generally to be able to go for that explosive early game. If you have the push bottom and mid, sure, he can look to try and get in Jankos' face. But if ever there is that early rotation out of Perks, out of Wadid, This is going to be a hard pick to make work for Lloyd. I like it. You got to have confidence going into these matchups. You got to play your style, as we keep hitting on. But as you mentioned, only 2 plays there on the Lee Sin. See whether he's able to make it work.
Looking at G4's regular season, I don't see a snake in there. So he's going to slip into the grass with this one against Perks' Rise. Interesting choice on that. Of course, he plays the Cassiopeia. It's going to be something that he knows how to go toe-to-toe with. But will it be enough to go up against Perks in the mid lane, that last standing member of that G2 Esports team that was grabbing titles in EULCS, that was making it into the World's group stage right away? We'll see if he can go up against that Perks right now that has made it with the team that has to get out of the playing stage.
Absolutely. But I think for the Perks question, he's already cemented himself as a world-caliber mid laner.
Absolutely.
Certainly one of the most exciting players to watch in that role, and looking to see how he takes it towards G4 in this matchup. A lot of pressure on G4's teammates, I think, in Lloyd to be able to help out that Cassiopeia, get it rolling. Cassiopeia, you know, mid-range machine gun mage, as you called it, if it falls behind, can be very susceptible in those side lanes to getting shut down. Should be an exciting matchup.
I cannot wait to see what happens. We're already on to the Rift. We don't even have to wait any longer. It's Ascension Gaming versus G2 Esports for your final game here in day 2. The 2018 Worlds play-in stage. Still so many more games to go to see what these teams can do to jockey for position and get the better seed on the way out.
And it really does start right now for both of these teams. You know, G2 going 0-2 on day 1, having to win both games on the back end of this group would be absolutely disastrous. They want that first seed. As we said, first time they've had to come in through the play-ins. In groups, you get a couple more games to maybe warm up. Riv, this time around, you only get 4 of them for the whole of the play-in stage to be able to fight for that seeding before the elimination. We'll see where they're able to get it back together. Supermassive, so impressive in this group so far. But both Ascension and G2, questions around that mid-game and that performance on the map. See whether they're able to, you know, bring it back a little bit in this game.
Ooh. Nothing will come of that. G4 can let his jungler know. He'll be warded out on the top side, nice and easy. We are going to be live now with minion spawned and camps. 3 seconds, 2, and we're off and running.
And I always say that Lee Sin is the best early game jungler in the game, and then one of the best late game junglers. Kind of sucks in the mid game. Early game, all about that gank pressure, all about the skirmish that you're able to pick up, especially when you have red buff. Late game, it's all about that one kick, Riv, that one magical kick, you know, 80 carry into the front line, blow them up immediately. Coined by Insect all those years ago. But right now, Lloyd is going to have to show the early game potency of it, because Jankos also on one of the better early game junglers in the Camille, and will be able to help Wadid, help Hyanan down in this bottom lane to exert a lot of pressure. You can already see the pushes on somehow. They've been able to win that one out.
Quick smite, quick hit. Just a few seconds later onto that scuttle, but it won't mean too much. Level 1's on the bot as 2's coming up. Hit it. There it is. Definitely for G2 first. It don't look like they're going to get too much pressure here. Rakan, Kai'Sa, not really going to kill you that hard.
Yeah, I guess one interesting thing to note on both of these junglers is they're both pretty crappy at clearing the AoE camps. You know, Krugs and Wraiths hold so much of the experience in gold nowadays. Machete junglers really do struggle to take them down, so see how they compensate for that. Looks like it's going to be through some early game pressure.
And Lloyd could be here for the runaround. G4 is going to take a while to get out of lane. He tries to get a Noxious Blast down to get that movement speed, and will have to flash still and use the cleanse. Double summoner down, and that's going to be a rinse and repeat for Jankos.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, they burnt nothing there. Hook shot immediately into Empowered Snare. Too much CC to be able to walk that one out. Jankos gets a first successful gank, and playing from behind as Lee Sin is not fun. Now the pressure is on Lloyd to try and make something similar happen.
Nice little defense there. And like you said, Perks is going to feel good in that lane. Matchup is going to maybe be in favor of the cast. Not so much anymore. Without your summoners, you're going to want to play very passive. Actually calls G4 and, Lloyd in. Clean a few of those minions and get the lane push so they don't lose too much.
Yeah, that must hit the turret. If that is a freeze out the front of the turret, I mean, immediate regank is going to come in. They try and get some control on the bottom side as well. Would expect Lloyd to go for his shop and try and shore up a little bit more vision control, just because of the creative jungle pathing. that Jankos can take to revisit this mid lane. You can see that they know the pressure is going to be here. And we'll see whether G2 can capitalize on it or whether they say, you know, this is good enough. We've got ourselves the farm advantage. We got him back on a pretty crappy shop at the start of the game. We can just hold this lane right now.
Feels good for him, too. He can try for these ganks. Still has 2 camps on the bot side of the map. He doesn't want to go back right away. It looks like if nothing comes of this... Interesting. So G2's trying to activate very early, but if it doesn't work, it seems like they're not going to let Ascension know.
Well, this could be a little bit dangerous because Wizard was able to sneak through there, I think. So now there's a false sense of security of, you know, the jungler has just recalled. Ridge going to be potentially bumped into here, so no play happening.
A little weird movement to start things off, but why not? Try to put something on the plate early. If it works, you're off to the races right away. And that's twice now that Perk has actually got some good attention on this Rise to start for G2.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this is a player that they historically want to play around as well. You can see 1v1, the Urgot is just going to be able to eke out advantages. You can see Rocky has also matched that spell book as well, potentially going towards the Sheen. See whether he goes for some early aggression himself. Actually, Unsealed Spellbook has a much higher win rate, but it has a much lower use rate there. Potentially just because it is only usable in some matchups. It used to be used a lot in mini-Gnar matchups to be able to catch him out and blow him up with a Sheen purchase first. And see now whether Jankos takes some of that pressure and tries to put it into the top lane.
Nice pop-up by Wadid. A little trade back and forth. Doesn't look like it'll go all the way to either side of the lane. And that pressure from Jankos did get the Scryer's Bloom. I think he's kind of on the search for Lloyd here, which that just missed. So they are going to play a little bit with the wards.
And the wave is going to slowly push back. You can see it is on G4's side of the wave, so eventually going to go there. No real camps up that he's interested in farming. Here's a gank.
Jankos so patient, but they go in as well. A kill just under the turn to hit, and the safeguard coming in from Lloyd absolutely saves G4 from the corrupt. Oh, it's not a corrupting potion. He was just getting hit. Yeah. I'm a liar. Just saves G4.
Saved him from the skirmisher safer, I think their review was burning down to the Rev Smite, but both summoner spells used there out of Jankos and Perch. 2 flashes and no kill with the flash and the cleanse, both about to become back available for G4. Lloyd really did play Superman there, swooping in to save the day.
Oh, man. G4 feeling very good, and we wondered how quick that activation would be. Both your summoners or G4 are down, you have to go back for that gank, and Jankos waited a little bit and actually almost made it count.
And you could see exactly what the thought process was there, you know, be able to just burn everything, pick up the first blood, control the middle portion of the map. This would now be more like 1,000 gold lead and complete control. However, the fact that that did not work, and now Lloyd is going to be farming himself towards that level 6 portion with Cassiopeia ult as well as Flash going to be coming available. Now potentially going to be Perks that has to play this one on the back foot. And also the fact that Lloyd has gone towards the TM map means he's going to be getting around the jungle a lot quicker than what Jankos is going to be expecting.
He will fly. You can just cripple camps and then Tiamat activate. So we'll see how fast he can get back to lane each time. Jungle proximity should be up there for Lloyd this game. And we'll have to see. He is kind of one of the veteran status members, talking a lot, calling the shots for this team as Nixor, I always say Nixor now, Nixar came in. It's so hard not to. Knowing a name for so long and then seeing it in a different form. Coming up on 8 minutes, 11.6 to 11.2 there for G2. So a small lead out of getting around the map, but also the pressure on G4.
And I think this is what we expect to see, right? A lot of pressure around the mid lane. A little bit more respect given down bottom lane from Nixar because he is more of that low econ team fight 80 carry that they like to have there. Rich hasn't yet mobilized the way he was able to on the Gragas game, but would expect the Tahm Kench ultimate at level 6 to start becoming, to play the fact to potentially get Lloyd in behind the bottom lane. This is going to be his first gank. See whether he can make it work. Oh, there are so many members coming.
Lloyd, get G4 for the safeguard. He has to flash actually to get safeguard to a minion. No activation on that hit.
They're going for
Killer
it.
instinct from Kjarnan. They see Wonder on the other side. No disdain from him just yet. The team doesn't have it. A hit onto Rich, and it looks like they'll be able to take him down. Gray health or not. Who gets this one? Nixar with Chain of Corruption, and it will not help his support. But now they have damage going on to 3 members of G2. Perks with Dean. There's the kick coming in from Lloyd. He's able to solidify a kill on Jankos. Beautiful Forge God as the teleport from Rocky comes into play behind Dragon Pit. And it is a kill for Nixar. What a come about for Ascension Gaming to find the win in that play.
And what a confusing play out of G2. That was like a we just want to kill somebody on the map. Give us anybody. They chase members everywhere. They give up the early game advantage. They give up the Infernal Dragon. And they use a lot in the process. You can see right now that they think they have Lloyd pinched. They know kind of where he is. They walk towards the brush. They get the flash out. That is such a big tool for Lee Sin. But the continual chase coming in here, I mean, Xian and solo turret diving, the split focus onto Rich. What did doesn't even get in the Realm War. And then they don't respect the fact that in the top lane, Rocky still has his teleport. They're able to use a great Chains of Corruption. Lee Sin kick through a member over the wall, separating everyone. That's just a great cleanup, but that is absolute disrespect coming out of the European lineup.
Ascension very much so were able to read that play. 2 kills now in their favor. And a Infernal Drake in their hands as well. They're going to be going ahead. And really, with the ward going down, they say, yeah, but the pressure won't be here. They're going to try to burn it 4 members. It's going to be free farm for Harn in the bot lane, though.
Yeah, it certainly is. And he also has teleport available, so he can maybe push that wave out. If they do want to fight it, he can teleport and get to the play in time. So I think this could, once again, be a pretty dicey call by one of the teams.
Quick pause on the side of Jankos. He seems to be organizing his area, getting his keyboard fixed up for himself as he discusses with them. Thumbs up, as we seem to be good to go.
Think that means good?
I think, yeah, it should be. Or said, yes, I actually do need more assistance. We will get QC out there to figure out what's going on. But this man, a lot of aggression towards the mid lane. And I think he has just been smashing that keyboard too much, trying to get the kills on the Cassiopeia. No, but really playing well. Obviously focusing a lot around perks this game, but Jankos on the Camille, just wanting to be aggressive, seeing a little bit of play all over the map. And they just did another dive on the mid, as you said, got very disrespectful.
I think that he actually had the right idea. He pulled out of the dive almost immediately and looked to hold up the support, you know, looked to cut off the rotating bottom lane members. I think that if, you know, potentially the ultimate is available there out of the Kai'Sa, able to fly into that lineup, that is actually going to be a successful team fight for you. I actually think Jankos' early pathing and pressure on the mid lane was pretty monumental as we do jump back into game.
Absolutely.
But it was just like denied by a millimeter by Lloyd. They actually just let it go over.
Lloyd still gets it. Rocky puts himself into the fight with a searing charge, but not able to get too much off of that for the rest of the team. And a little respect there from G2 as well. They know they may have overstepped their boundaries in the previous fight, and Rift Herald had to be given up. Now is the time where you think they use it in X position. How do they get back? So G2 is starting to think ahead of the game now.
Did just have to blow flash? Because if so, that's once again just one of those really questionable decisions. They're actually going to use Rift Herald in top lane turret as well. No rotation coming across. What did here, Solo is not defending this turret. That's going to be a lot of gold going over to Ascension Gaming. They're going to look to tie up this gold lead. They've already got themselves the Scaling Dragon and looking to mobilize around objectives much earlier this game.
And they're going to have a lot of free movement after this as well. I don't see G4 still pushing. He's very, very reluctant to think where G2 is on the rest of the map. So mid's even as Rocky starts to push bot a little bit more. We'll have to see where Varus, Nixar, and Rich go on that Tom Kench after this. It looks like they're going to give Perks hell.
Certainly could be the case. I mean, they have themselves the ultimate as well as the flash on the Varus. So whether they go for it here.
Great sixth sense by Perks. Very nicely done getting himself the safety. Top lane disappeared. Not enough vision in the jungle. They must be surrounding me. And look how much they actually want this. One wrong move from Perks and they still want it. One right move from Perks and they still want it. Flash for flash. Wadid is there. The char is in from the quickness. But the turret's not going to be doing enough damage just yet. And can they get the crowd control that actually equals the fight continuing? Jankos just off on the side. Realm Warp does not get Wadid in long enough. Fear Beyond Death almost gets there. Petrified Petrifying Gaze onto Wunder as the fight continues. G4 is trying to get the spell. Vamp almost keeps himself alive, but he does go down. And the top side of the fight, Lloyd loses to Jankos.
And that's a very nice recovery out of G2. As you said, Perk read the play to perfection. They've also just got their 80 carry free farming on the top side of the map. That is a force out of Ascension. One more time, looking for the kills, and G2 will take the objectives.
Man, persistent fighting, and it's kind of incredible to see those fights that continue. You know the enemy's trying to kill you, but they still get it to work. G2 is hungry, and we saw Ascension. They're almost even more hungry to start this thing off.
Well, you know, as soon as he walks up and throws this Q into the brush, that he has a good idea about where you are. He reapproaches. You must think at that stage that there is someone else here that is willing to back him up. In this case, it was Wadid, probably the best member at stopping a turret dive, you know, AoE, knock-up, and charm. And then they're just able to continue the fight. The chase out of the Camille, out of the Rise is going to be so long. The slow on Fear Beyond Death is something that is just always understated. G4 plays it as well as he could. Isn't going to be enough. And on the top side of the map, just a little bit of 1v1 action. You know, they throw down the Brawl Arena. Unfortunately, one has their ult, the other one doesn't. And Jankos comes out ahead.
Sighs of relief. There's definitely a bit of back and forth in the emotion as well in these games. They have been more difficult, I think, than both teams have wanted coming in, but more so G2, hoping to start off on a very high note. And it looks like they're going to give Perks hell here and make sure that's a low, flat note to start off from the side of Ascension Gaming. Mid turret's going to go down, and they are just picking up gold around the map as G2 does what they can in the bot lane.
And I think they wanted the mid lane turret because they certainly visited there enough times. Wadid
set up camp.
Is here on the rotate, potentially going to look for the fight, but I think that's a right call, you know. Just look to trade across Summoner's Rift. Once again, you've got yourself that Kai'Sa, you got yourself the Rakan as well for the late game team fighting options, and they are able, with an open map, to just fall back into the 1-3-1 and try and pull Ascension around. We've already seen EDG be successful in doing it. I think that Ascension, you know, at the same time, they're probably doing everything they can as well. They're throwing continual ultimates at turrets and trying to push them down. Next Dragon not doing them any favors, Riv. It's just going to be an Air Drake. They would have loved another Infernal to force another fight. Now the game really does get back to that stalemate of, can G2 force Ascension to answer sideways, or is Ascension good enough, you know, pushing it down mid lane and trying to force these plays?
It would feel so good for them. They just want to receive a few attacks. They want Jankos first. They want to be able to Petrify and Gaze counter, Chain of Corruption counter. Everything that G2 does first can be stopped. But like you said, is G2 just going to stay in those side lanes and say, no, thank you. We're going to work around you with a little bit of macro. Lloyd here looking to create opportunities, but also safety for Nixar as he roams a little by himself in mid. And see opportunity knocking here for Jankos, looking to just at least half health somebody if he gets the chance before he would get out of a sticky situation.
The other thing Ascension has is a very quick Baron. You've got yourself a Blade of the Ruined King user probably going to go into that Quinsu's Rage Blade as well. We're in some trouble.
Quickness. So he gets the ultimate out. Lloyd is staying active.
Certainly is. Looking for those potential pickoffs. And what I was going to say is they don't necessarily have to burn the Baron, but the potential to turn, you know, with the likes of the Tahm Kench, with the likes of the Yorn and the Lee Sin is certainly always going to be a threat. So I feel like G2 are going to have to answer. Wonder here going to get a glimpse of the Dragon being taken. Play on the opposite side of the map, though.
Oh, Petrifying Gaze onto Wadid. He gets himself to safety with the Grand Entrance, and there's the Hextech ultimatum onto G4. Quick kill there as they save Wadid. Nicely done.
They also burn a teleport to come over there as well. A little bit confusing there out of Rocky to burn that summoner spell at that stage of the game. There was no reason for G4 to be in that jungle. Once again, just cheating, rotating through an area of the map where they didn't have numbers. Fight gonna start here.
They're looking for the Realm Warp. He gets knocked up. Can't take it as he's in the air. Perks is gonna go down as they get themselves a little too close for comfort. He's just running towards the turret. I love it. They know they're down. They just need to buy some time. And Ascension is finding the kills they want, but not yet able to make too much ground off of these.
And I think both of these teams are just making like tiny decision mistakes every single time. You know, the ability to cheat through a jungle. I should be able to answer this side wave. Well, you can't. Perks thinks that with a member dead, that Ascension aren't going to look for the pick and they're going to allow him to stay at that portion of the map. Once again, not going to be the case. So the indecision, the inability to be able to really read the state of the map is hurting both of the teams and kind of giving away any hard momentum they're going to be able to pick up to drive a real meaningful lead home. There's a couple of thousand gold right now for G2, but you can see the position on the map isn't there. This is what I'm talking about. Actually, it was G4 thinking he had a pick. Thought he could blow up what did before anyone else really rotated from the team. Once again, maybe a little bit of greed, maybe just misreading how much damage he does, and this time it's going to be the exact same thing out of Perkz and Jankos. I mean, they think they can take a turret once again with Cassiopeia dead, but the rest of the team just able to rotate. The good use of Rich's ultimate, and a confusing game of League of Legends to say the least.
It is. I mean, Nixar's coming from Baron at that point where you have people Abyssal Voyaging second tier turret in mid. Oh, nicely done. Actually got him just before the turn, even though he was kind of sidestepping there. Perkz, Teleport, and Flash are down from that engage, as Petrifying Gaze was used to disengage from G4 himself. 0, 2, and 2 for these mid laners as they try to be a little bit stronger for their teams. It has not been the easiest game as they continue to farm up.
Both of them are just looking to force, is like the honest thing. You know, teleport in, Flash on top of him. He has no summoner spells. We should be able to kill. Not the case, just able to walk that one out. Cassiopeia ult was certainly there. And on the flip side, G4 doing the exact same thing, really. You have to say that patience has not been the name of this game, whilst we complimented EDG to sticking to the game plan for really following that step by step. This has not been a pretty 1-3-1 setup by G2 so far. With Baron coming up on the map in a minute, I think the game gets a little bit easier for Ascension, to be honest. But potentially G2 going to have to start coming towards the major objectives on the map.
The turn always feels good. You mentioned the Ornhorn. I think it's one of my favorite things to actually have at a Baron, to be able to disengage. You freely do it while still on Baron, and you pretty much get to assess how you want to engage on your opponent. 45 seconds until that comes up. Everybody trying to hold heavy summoners and ultimates right now. You're waiting on G4's Flash, and Perkz's will come up later in that sense. Here comes the Ward Wars now as they just jockey for position with that vision.
And as we take a look at the state of the game as well, Hjarnan is going to go towards that second item coming up. You know, Urgot working towards the Righteous Glory as well. There are power spikes coming up. They do seem to be just that little bit ahead of their opponents, you know, hence the gold lead. So potentially the game can be one around that, but they just haven't had any access to this mid lane turret. And once again, Rich looking to cut them off.
Perkz gets knocked up. They'll see Abyssal Voyage. Does not deter the fight from G2. They want to definitely get Perkz out of this alive. 5 members of G2 now on the spot. And Ascension still able to decide the priority targets. Wonder now in the brush, denying vision but giving vision. The pink ward is in, so he can't do that anymore. Rocky and the Zanyas as Nixar flashing forward into the fight with Rich right behind him, looking for the Devour. A great kill from Lloyd onto Harnden, and it is just Ascension Gaming pushing forward, not caring if they'll lose another member because they feel they will come out on top.
Just the unrelenting aggression, and we already talked about the speed of the Baron. They did not get the jungler. They send him back to base, and that isn't enough to start it up. But Nixar in that team fight, positioning well, flashing forward. And G2 just look like they don't know what's hitting them. Their side lanes aren't being pushed in. They're not really setting up the 1-3-1. It looks like they're rushing the play riv every single time. And Ascension just, you know, trying to meet fire with fire. Team fighting is their game.
Once that Ornn ult is up, it is called each and every time. It's the new dinner bell here for Ascension.
Team fights aren't over. Another game coming in on G4 this time.
G4 gets himself a little too far out for comfort here. They'll be able to pick up one fast kill. Don't finish that teleport on the other side of the map. That's going to be quickly stopped here for Rocky, and they will just deny the wards on the top side of the map as what we thought was going to be a 1-3-1 or some semblance of a split push from G2 has become a ran top.
It certainly has, and they're just leaving their AD carry in the other lanes to clean up as much gold as he can. You can see what he did over the wall, looking for an engage here. But they will be able to pick up 2 turrets. They will finally break the mid lane turret, so be able to get some form of control over this map. That might be the situation that G2 were looking for, because...
Man, that was a hot spot in the blue side jungle for the last 5-6 minutes. Woo! Where are we going to get it next? Baron's got to go down at some point for these teams. It's been up for 2 minutes now. Objective control in favor of Ascension with that Infernal and Cloud Drake under their belt. And Ocean now up as the RNG gods continue to spin up a variety of dragons. And they will just start Baron. Why not?
Exactly right. At this stage of the game, why not?
Why
it seems
not?
to be the motto of a lot of these teams. Jankos certainly suspects they're on it as he saw the ward go over the back of the pit, but it is burning so fast, already down to 5,000 health. They might have to go for the fight here.
My eyes on Nixor on the backside of the fight. Yankos is already over. Smite's coming down up for 1,000 health. That's going to be G2's Baron, and the damage onto Nixor is huge. They need the ADK to stay alive, and he's in the backside of the fight. He's got hits on No Wonder, but they're losing members left and right on the side of Ascension. G2 now strangles them out at Baron and takes the objective for themselves.
And finally, something goes G2's way. Jankos flies into the pit, able to pick up the Baron. They get the team fight. Now the gold lead is real, and the game is back on their terms.
Pushing down through mid. That'll be the second tier. They needed to get Ascension group. They needed to have Ascension focused on something else. And G2 was able to find a small window that was open. As Raz was saying, look for the windows. You can find them.
Exactly right, but still, that was a 50-50 Baron.
Oh,
Lloyd
yeah.
was in the pit first. We already mentioned it, but the turn is great. They're not really taking any damage from the objectives, and it isn't until Jankos gets in here and is able to steal it away that the team fight heavily swings in their favor. And that is just a misplay out of Lloyd, because he got the execute down on the Q, he got the smite off. Really, everything that you would have asked for as a Lee Sin was there for the secure, and with the Baron going over to G2, the fight is lost.
That feeling of greatness. You'd be like, I'm down, but things look great right now. And we'll see from the G2 coach room. Absolutely elated about that situation here. Now a 7,000 gold lead in favor of G2 with another 2 minutes onto that Baron. And they are not going to let go of this lead, I feel.
Yeah, I think that was the one. I think that, you know, that's a heartbreaker if you're Ascension.
Right.
And at the same time, I think that was more of a sigh of relief, honestly, that came out of Jankos after he was able to pick up that Baron hands on head. Just thinking, thank goodness that went our way. But now you can see finally 131 has really been kicked in. They've got the jungler in the side lane. They've got perks in the top side of the map. Able to pick up a couple of extra items now should be fine. And Gank Brush, a central being set up by Ascension as they try and just look to pick a desperation team fight. Certainly don't have the wave clear to be able to keep all of G2 out of their base.
Splitting left and right. They're saying a few members over here will pull you thin, try to get a kill, force you into a fight. But I think they have to be ready because Ascension will take that fight. They'll take that fight on all fronts at this point, and they have to be careful how far out of that base they want to take it. The vision's been cut very short. It's like a light bright for G2 all the way across the map here, and they have security everywhere. 10-6. 25 minutes in, and G2, knowing they have the lead, still going to play it slow here with that aggression of Ascension.
Yeah, certainly are, and that's going to be the Kench ulti used on the other side of the map.
Rich and Lloyd, it's not going to be a kickback. Nicely done as Perks gets over the wall. They actually get the grand entrance to him. I like that escape and versatility from the team to say, get out, right? We're just going to be out of here.
Yeah, good decisiveness shown from G2 there. They actually held their waves off the turret, allowed Wonder to be able to get in position to generate a push as soon as the pressure comes on the other side of the map, willing to burn resources to get out. You can't do that again without an Ornn ultimate, so now they can start to pressure the base.
Huzzah! Quick searing charge onto Perks, trading the damage, but he is not winning that trade. Turret goes down as Perks takes it down solo top. G2 gets one mid, grand entrance knocks up two from Wadid, and now they have the engage onto Ascension. This could also be the base, and G2 picking up a victory, a double kill for Hjarnan, who had a much better laning phase, a much better game for himself this time. All of G2 coming out on top across the board after a very back and forth matchup. 51,000 moving up on 52 as they take down the inhibitor and Nexus turrets in front of Ascension Gaming, who are watching their base fall down. It was an 0-1 for both teams coming in, and it was a wonder who would be able to get the victory. Well, Wonder's on G2 and Wonder no more. It's going to be a G2 win, 13-7. G2 Esports take down Ascension Gaming.
They're really making it hard for you at the end of that game, Riv. No one wants to hit the damn Nexus.
Everybody always wants to pad the KDA.